Millie, we were reporting for Infowars.com. After reviewing some of the video footage that we had of the anti-Trump protests in Cleveland, as well as watching Jill Stein's video about how she's working to fund a recount in multiple states, including Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, it really began to dawn on me that there's more here, there's more to this story. And when I take a look at the fact that Jill Stein, she's the perfect red herring.
I may or may not. Actually, I did vote for Jill Stein.
It appeared as though these guys were kind of practicing a drill, so to speak.
The protesters right now seem to be splitting up. I'm wondering if this is in a bid to split up the law enforcement to kind of scramble them. So we have some of the more agitator, violent ones kind of veering off, and then we have the main protesters kind of all, down there gathering.
You can see them kind of watching the cops and seeing the way that the cops were going to be maneuvering around them. It kind of seemed like they were running drills for more planned protests in the future. And in fact, when I uploaded my video, these groups and their protesters were quick to go on and attack me on Twitter. And then they even went so far as trying to shut down my Twitter account, which that didn't really work for them, and they even tried to claim that they shut down my account, which wasn't true. Then they actually invited me out on December 3rd to go to another one of their planned protests, which I'm not going to go to because it's my belief that it's, a trap, and they simply want to bring me out there so they can harass me, get a scuffle with me, so that they can provoke the alt-right to come out and maybe protest.
How about you step back, huh?
We don't talk to fake news and Nazis.
So it looks like these guys are getting pretty heated and violent over here, making some threats.
Yeah, a lot of these liberals may be a bit peaceful, but I'm not, so get the fuck out of here, huh?
They're obviously just agitators, and they just want to invoke the alt-right to participate in the madness, which it's very important that we don't, because it's bait. Jill Stein is the perfect solution to Hillary Clinton's problems. Why? Because if you radicalize all these leftists, you need somewhere to put them. And if you stick them to Hillary, it's going to make Hillary look bad. So Hillary's way of saving face is by having Jill Stein come forward as the one to contest the election. This also serves a purpose to polarize the radical leftists around Jill Stein rather than Hillary Clinton. This became a problem for Hillary Clinton when after the election, immediately people went and hit the streets and did these large, violent riots and anti-Trump protests.
Here's Lily. Lily, your sign tonight says...
Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. If we don't fight, who's going to fight for us? There will be casualties on both sides. There will be, because people have to die to make a change in this world.
So this actually made Hillary look really bad. It made the left and the Democrats look really bad. So what better than to put a new face to it? Jill Stein, the Green Party. Oh, these are the Green Party people, right? The alt-left, the Green Party. Meanwhile, if you can pit the alt-left, the Green Party, against the alt-right, what can you do? Make them both look extreme, and then you can actually try to make it seem as though the Democrats are in the middle and that they're the moderates. So Jill Stein is just basically a way for Hillary Clinton to save face and use Jill Stein as a proxy. Well, the problem is now we see Jill Stein coming out tweeting that it's hypocritical for Hillary Clinton to now chime in and request this recount. Well, we saw, Bernie Sanders had a lot of talk against Hillary Clinton as well, and at the end of the day, he, bowed down and gave her her throne.
I move that all votes cast by delegates be reflected in the official record, and I move that Hillary Clinton be selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
So I expect Jill Stein to do exactly that and just simply give over this evidence to Hillary Clinton, and she serves as basically a pass-through. On what basis, you might ask? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at a report from Greg Palast.
we've uncovered a bigger threat than long lines or compromised machines. It comes out of the GOP's and Donald Trump's claim of voter fraud. Reflecting Trump's claim of multiple voting Democrats, GOP-controlled states have purged nearly 1 million voters accused of voting or registering in 2 states. Ohio's Republican Secretary of State has a secret list of a whopping 497,000 double voting suspects. In fact, nearly 2 million voters on the list, called cross-check, have middle names that don't match. Who's on the list? Names like Hernandez, Wong, Garcia, Jackson. Our experts have calculated that fully 1 in 6 voters of color are on the Republican blacklist. We've asked voting rights attorney Fitrakis why Ohio's Republicans would use this cross-check scheme.
What he's doing is counting on bigotry to get away with it.
So, what is this for, you might wonder? Well, it's pretty simple. It's to justify electorates switching their vote to Hillary Clinton instead of Trump. When they try and give Michigan, Wisconsin, or even Pennsylvania electoral votes to Hillary Clinton, it's to justify that. What's interesting to note here is that Greg Palast is claiming that minority and ethnic voters were disenfranchised by the cross-check system. It's to make sure that voters aren't registered in multiple states so that they can't go around and vote in several states, because that would be cheating. I mean, that would be voter fraud. Greg Palast is also part of this movement demanding that we do away with the cross-check system because he claims that it targets ethnic and minority voters. Well, that's simply ridiculous, because any of these ethnic and minority voters could have voted if they weren't registered in multiple states. It's that simple. He was the first person that Jill Stein went to and announced that she was going to be contesting the election and demanding a recount in these 3 states. As you can see here in his Twitter picture, he has a picture here of himself where he's got a red background and a crescent moon. You know, the red background might symbolize communism. We don't know what this all symbolizes, but it's very interesting that, you know, the Green Party is also referred to sometimes as the Watermelon Party. Why? Because they're green on the outside and red on the inside. They have communist interests at heart. So these are all things that, you know, I'm very curious about. You know, who is this Greg Palast? In the past, he did do some work with InfoWars, but he's now out there behind this movement that's trying to literally overthrow the election results and try to make it so that Hillary Clinton becomes the president. So you really have to wonder, who is this guy? You know, who is this guy? And having him be the leading guy behind this movement, that when InfoWars comes out and tries to investigate this guy and find ways to, you know, look into him, and if we do end up discrediting him, is it to, you know, point the finger back at us, be like, hey, well, you guys worked with him, so, you know, it's, oh, you're the fake news, see, you're the fake news. Is that the motive behind that? You know, it really makes you wonder. This is Millie Weaver signing off for Infowars.com.